continuation with the series on economic sociology, in today's lecture we are going to discuss on the platform society. Now, the platform society is basically the creation of digital platform through which individuals have access to various services. Now, at one level, the platform society is a critical concept as it helps us to understand the interrelation between the economy and society. Now, many a time we understand the platform society as a service provider and therefore falls into the realm of economy. What we fail to do is that this creation of the platform through internet or technology has affected the social and cultural relation. So, we need to understand how these platform society has affected social structures, social relations, and therefore, we need to understand this as a contested concept. So, when we try to understand the platform, we know we can define it as a programmable architecture designed to organize interaction between user. So, it is a kind of app, or it is a design with lot of kind of configuration algorithm which enables users to take benefit of these services online, that is without kind of traveling to the market or without going to the shop. You can buy things, you can attend classes, you can kind of talk to people, you can organize parties. So, that is why it is kind of considered as a programmable architecture. Now, many people think of platforms simply as a technological tools that allow them to do things. And what are the things that we do online? We do chatting. Most of the time we are chatting through WhatsApps or the other apps. Sharing, we share. So, whatever we do in a private sphere, we kind of either put up a photograph or we write about it. Then we kind of start commenting on the portfolios or these kind of write-ups by other. Dating, searching, buying stuff, lot of online shopping happens, and shopping is across product. It could be from say beauty products to books to any household things to computers to any technology. Listening to music, watching videos, you hailing a cab, and so this list is kind of incomplete. Almost everything in our life we can do through the use of a technology. But these online activities hide a system whose logic and logistics are about more than facilitating. They actually shape the way we live and how society is organized. So, if we kind of look into it from a social or a sociological perspective, we could see a class variation in the taste, or we could see a certain class which is kind of taking more benefit of the online platform rather than the other segments. Or it could be say one particular community takes more take recourse to this. There could be a gender dimension where women could be considered as doing more online shopping, but these are kind of a general assumption. It could be has to be studied, and that is the reason that the understanding is that the platform society cannot be studied in isolation. It has to be studied in relation to the social, cultural and other dimension of the society. Now, we know that there are a lot of online platform through we are interacting and using the services. Now, what important is to understand how are these platform constructed. So, online platform is a programmable digital architecture designed to organize interaction between users, not just end users, but also corporate entities and public bodies. It is geared towards a systematic collection, algorithm processing, circulation and monetization of user data. Single platforms cannot be seen apart from each other, but evolve in the context and an online setting that is structured by its own logic. Devices people use to access platform services often come equipped with software and apps that can automatically collect data. So, we now have smartphones which kind of have all kinds of devices which can even kind of provide reminder to drink water, or can provide kind of, so they are certain devices which have certain software, and through these software and apps, individuals are able to interact with others and the service provider through the use of these facilities. Now, when we look into the ESAC mouse click and cursor movement, user data are generated, stored, automatically analyzed and processed, not just internet protocol addresses and geolocations, but detailed information about interest, preference and taste. Now, many a time people kind of does a Google search of say a particular brand or a particular, and then you will see that on a laptop or on the smartphone, the search gets reflected into your social media handles, that it will be kind of say if you are searching for a particular brand in say women dress, then in your social media a lot of advertisements related to this comes in. That implies that the platform is collecting information about your taste and preference, and it is commoditizing it in order to kind of provide you the easy access to select and then kind of be a part of that network. Large quantities of data are also collected across the web through the implementation of the social buttons and pixels. So, we have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube or Google Plus on websites. All these names are basically modes of data collection, and they are kind of they are not independent of each other. They are networked, they are connected to each other, and therefore, it is kind of what it is doing is it is collecting your data and storing it on the server to create a list of commodity to suit the particular customer. Data provide the fuel for growing connectivity between platforms. By means of application program interfaces, which is API, platforms subsequently offer third parties controlled access to their platform data, giving them detailed insight into the user behavior and metrics, information on which they can build new applications or platforms. So, since eBay launched the first open API in the year 2000, its ubiquitous employment has arguably transformed the web into a data-driven platform based on ecosystem. The second component in the construction of a platform society is algorithm. Algorithms are another significant technological ingredient defining the connectivity architecture of the platform. They are sets of automated instruction to transform input data into a desired output. For instance, Google's PageRank algorithm define the relevance of a web page by calculating the number and quality of hyperlinks to this page, and Facebook's news feed algorithm determine the content you will be exposed to, calculated on the basis of the online activities of friends and friends of friends. Platform use algorithm to automatically filter enormous amount of content and connect users to content services and advertisements. Although platform owners may lift a wheel on how the algorithm work, they are often well kept trade secrets and are everything but transparent. So, many a time many scholars have argued that with the increase in the number of platforms and where we are always giving in our private data, the privacy as a concept has become questionable, because somebody at the back of the server of these platforms have access to the data. So, that and they are working with these data. So, the idea is therefore that this platform concept is basically a contested concept. However, algorithms have become increasingly complex and are subject to constant tweaking. Shifting the focus from technological to economic relations, two important ingredients of a platform architecture are its ownership status and business model. Most of the consumers are not even aware of who the owner is or what is the business model, because they are basically interested in terms of the effectiveness of that platform in providing services to the individual consumer. To start with, the former, that is the ownership, each platform has a specific legal economic status. Most distinctively, platforms may be operated on a for-profit or a non-profit basis, even though such labels often leave implicit who stands to profit from a platform activities. Airbnb, for instance, is run by a US company with headquarters in San Francisco and satellite offices in 19 cities around the world. The company is owned by its stockholders, who are, besides its founder, a number of Silicon Valley venture capitalists. So, we see that even this ownership is not like simply one individual owning it or one company owning it. It is a complex network of multiple individuals or even institution involved in the ownership. So, this first is the ownership and the second is the business model. Business models in the context of platform refer to the ways in which economic values get created and captured. By automatically collecting and processing user data, platform can target and provide individual users as well as user groups. The third component of the platform society or the way in which they are constructed is terms of services, also referred as TOS. With what is term of services? The term of services basically means that every service provider has a set of agreement which the user has to agree. So, many a time whenever we install an app or we are trying to kind of take a service, we have a terms of agreement and which we have to kind of tick, and only once we accept the terms of agreement that we are able to have access to that service. But most of the time either people are not that knowledgeable or people are not kind of concerned about the terms of services. So, people generally click and go on. But if we go into the details of these agreement, they spell out the legality of having access to these services. So, if in case there is some kind of a problem with the service provided or the product that has been sold, they are kind of protecting themselves beforehand. So, it is very important that these user agreements are well read by the consumer before they kind of use it. So, these agreements have been defined as pseudo legal contracts and shape the relationship between the user and platform owners, but they are often long, difficult to understand and subject to constant change, which is why many people check the box without even looking at the agreement. Another thing when it comes to the terms of services is that most of the font of the terms of agreement would be very small. So, the idea is that it just escapes your attention. So, the service provider is basically not interested that the consumer reads the terms of agreement carefully, and therefore, it comes at the end in small fonts and kind of skips the attention of the individual. So, the TOS does a lot more than just define service condition. It can be used to impose norms or values with regard to privacy. So, we read these terms of agreement, they make reference to the privacy, they make reference to the data that is being taken. Many a time we get this message that the data being collected is only for record, it will not be used without the consent of the consumer. But since it is on a technological platform, the privacy in itself is in question. So, there are a lot of issues related to the terms of agreement. For instance, in November 2016, Airbnb put forward an anti-discriminatory policy, adding the rule that host may not decline or impose any different terms or condition on a guest based on race, color, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity or marital status. Another added rule was that users allow platform operators to perform background check by consulting public database, including public records of criminal convictions, to cross-reference a host and guest personal information. So, it's kind of a Airbnb services is kind of not very easy, because there has to be a cross check from both the side, from the host as well as the guest. So, it's make sure that there is no guest with a criminal record, and also that if you are a guest, you do not get a host which could be discriminatory or which could kind of add to the violence. So, Airbnb is under no obligation to unveil what it learns about its user other than what the company is legally bound to disclose. So, the terms of services are important instrument for platform owners to govern their relationship with users, partners, client and other legal parties. By the same token, these managerial adaptation to public sentiments beg the question of public legitimacy. So, now we look into the idea that there are certain kind of a hierarchy in the platform society, where there are certain platforms which are kind of dominant and they control, or they are the most powerful. So, it is being referred here as the big five, and this big five major companies became powerful since 2000. And these are the alphabet, that is Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon and Microsoft, and they kind of dominate the online ecosystem. These companies control key informations and platforms that are central to how people interact online. They are all based on the west coast of United States and hold a significant amount of power over an online sociality and information flow. This centralization of power has created a networked platform ecosystem where a few corporations control crucial nodes of information services. Each of the big five holds significant power in different areas. Alphabet, Google offers a wide range of services, including search, mobile operating system, that is Android, AdSense, YouTube, Google Maps, which are geospatial information centers, and web browsing, that is Chrome. It also invests in artificial intelligence and urban innovation. The other are Facebook, Amazon and Apple. Facebook dominates data traffic and social networking with its suite of apps, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, and controls a substantial share of online advertising and personal data. Amazon leads in digital retail and cloud service through Amazon Web Services, providing a vast array of service across various sectors. Apple is renowned for the hardware products like iPhone and iPads and its app stores and cloud services. Microsoft, originally known for personal computing, has shifted its focus to online services with platforms like LinkedIn and Azure. The dependence on Big Five is evident across various sectors. Other platforms and services often rely on the Big Five for essential functionality, since they leave no room for competitors. The media and game industry also heavily rely on app stores operated by Google. So, if you have to install any game, you go to Google Play, and accordingly if you have an Apple iPhone, you need to go to the Apple store to download it. So, they are the controllers. Anything can work only by having access to these big five. This dependence underscores the central role of the big five in the digital economy. Now, they are dominating. The dominance of big five is kind of helps us to understand that they can be termed as super platforms, because they provide crucial information services upon which other sectoral platforms can be stacked or built. They have created a platform ecosystem that is deeply integrated into modern life, offering convenience in exchange for control over used data. This dominance poses significant political, environmental and ethical risk due to their unprecedented power in connected and managing data stream. Now we know they are there's a hierarchical structure where these big 5 companies are the super platforms. Now, in the other part of the book, the authors talked about the deconstructing anatomy. Companies often have to respond to public opinion and react to legal or regulatory demands by adjusting their policies. Taken together, these technological, economic, and socio legal elements of a platform's architecture inform the dynamic of platform driven sociality. Deconstructing the anatomy of a single platform helps us understand how its combined elements govern user and user practices. But although each platform is a separate entity with a unique combination of feature, it can only operate as a part of a larger ecosystem. Now, we have tried to understand the construction of the platform society, how it is a contested concept, and therefore we will try to understand that the creation of this gig economy or the sharing economy does not always have positive outcome. There are a lot of negative outcome in it, and that is why it is important to understand the platform society as kind of something which is in center of the economy and the society. So, the integration prompts significant debates about the balance between the private gains and public benefits. So, when we look into the economy, it would just certainly say that the platform society, it kind of is providing services at a cheaper cost, or it is kind of aiding the retailers to make profit. However, as sociologists, or when it comes to the understanding from a sociological perspective, we need to see how it has kind of ensured that the collective public value is maintained or benefits from it. So, for example, when Airbnb provides affordable lodging option, it raises concern about public costs such as maintaining safety regulations and public spaces. They hence come with conflict of interest. So, any kind of service always comes in with the conflict of interest. Platform introduce specific norms and values that may clash with those of different societies, particularly between the US, where many platforms are based, and Europe. So, the creators of these platforms are based in the Western context, and a large percentage of the consumer or the users are from the non-Western countries. So, they could be a class of cultural values, they could be a class of your norms, or you know. So, if you are kind of renting a service room, say in the United States, and your values does not match with your host, there could be a conflict of interest. The rise of the platforms like Uber and Airbnb highlights ideological differences regarding privacy, equality, transparency, and democratic control. So, when we look into this book called The Platform Society, we need to understand that ultimately the platform society involves a complex interplay of private and public interest, requiring a nuanced understanding of how platforms operate and influence societal values. Government, civil society, and citizen must collaborate to ensure that platforms contribute to a fair and democratic society. This necessitates a comprehensive approach to governance that addresses the technical, economic, and social dimensions of platform and the impact on public value. And that is, with this we can come to an end in terms of understanding the significance of the platform society. At one level, it is giving us the message of progress and development, but then we have to be kind of watchful and see whether it is kind of creating a society which is equal, just, or is it equally providing services to all, or what are the conflict interest between the private and the public values, and how much of government regulation is necessary. Because if we look into a lot of YouTube videos, there is a light of shift towards privatization of your space, getting access to your private domain. So, it has to be a concept which has to be thoroughly studied, and it is integral to the sub-discipline of economic sociology. With this, I come to an end of this lecture. Thank you.